Hello there and welcome, my friends. Let me ask you this question out of the gates. Have you been a home buyer that has been really waiting on the sidelines for the past year or a couple years? Maybe you've been waiting for the mortgage rates to go down or more inventory to hit, and you are really deciding, is 2025 going to be my year where I make that home purchase? Today, we are really gonna talk about that. I am gonna go over with you all of the 2025 real estate predictions. We are going to talk about mortgage rates. Are they going up? Are they going down? We're going to talk about home inventory. That's always a popular question amongst all of my home buyers. And we're going to talk about home prices. What's happening with those? And then if you stick around, I'm going to share with you some outrageous data that can really affect your decisions on if you want to move forward. I'm Lindsey Kaplan. I have been one of the top real estate brokers in the Chicagoland area for the past 10 years. And I believe that buying and selling real estate can be easy. You just need to arm yourself with the right information. So stick with me. We are going to go over some great information today on all of the bold 2025 predictions for the housing market. Okay, so back to what you are here for. Here is the first thing that we are going to go through. What are the mortgage rate predictions for 2025? That is obviously a big one that people are really trying to wrap their heads around. In the prediction market, we always are going to look towards all the major financial institutions. We're going to look towards the heavy hitters like Redfin and Zillow. They are gathering really great data in the mortgage world. The thing that we are hearing overall throughout every prediction is that we are going to see a drop in rates. It's just not going to be very dramatic. We are not going to be back in the land of 2% and 3% interest rates. That ship truly has sailed. And so what they are thinking is that we are going to be seeing just a subtle drop. For example, the deputy chief economist for First American has said this: if the Fed continues on their rate cutting cycle, we can expect mortgage rates to drift a little lower next year. Slightly lower rates will boost affordability, ease the rate lock-in effect for sellers, and hopefully unlock some existing home inventory. We are not seeing that prediction for real dramatic change coming from First American. They definitely are in the business of making sure that they are following every last bit of data coming down the pipeline for mortgage rates. I'm going to give you another quote from someone else that most realtors definitely often follow, and that's Lawrence Yun. He is the chief economist for the National Association of Realtors, and he has been around forever and just a really, really sharp guy, kind of the person that we're always listening to. And what he said is, are we going back to 4%? Per my forecast, unfortunately, we will not. It's more likely that we'll go back to 6%. That will be our new normal, bouncing around between 5.5% to 6.5%. Home buyers, it is time for you to really wrap your head around that reality. When you are going to go into buying a home, whatever that home price is going to be, your mortgage rate will most likely be in that 5.5% to 6.5% area. This is really good information for you to have to make those decisions on what your home affordability really is. So I get a lot of my information through sources like Brian Buffini and David Childers from Keeping Current Matters, which are really great resources. These guys are really at the top of their game, especially when it comes to gathering this type of data. And one thing that David Childers does say is that he believes that a lot of these predictions are a little bit conservative. And the reason why he thinks that they're conservative is because we are going into a year with a completely new presidential administration. We don't know what type of effects tariffs are going to have. And so he believes that these predictions for mortgage rates are a little bit on the conservative end, which truthfully, that could be a good thing, because if we get a larger swing, that would be great. But that is one thing that I did want to point out. The next thing that I want to pull up right now is, here is a graph for the mortgage rates and projections. And as you can see, in 2023, we were really cresting over in the 7s. It was a really brutal time to be selling real estate. I will tell you that. As a person who was doing it, it was just tough. Everything was truly becoming unaffordable because the rates were so high. Okay, but as you can see in this graph, based off of what they are projecting, is that there is going to be a nice softening of those rates. It's nothing dramatic, but we are really just kind of easing down into that 6% zone. So again, that's going to be where we're at, most likely in mortgage rates. On to the next topic, and that is home inventory. Here's the question. When are all the homes gonna start hitting the market? I'm not seeing much hit the market. I probably hear that from my buyers and sellers constantly. We are in a time where there is low inventory, and we have been riding this low inventory wave for a while. So what are all the experts seeing for 2025? Well, they are seeing that we're gonna have an uptick of roughly 1 to 1.5% in inventory. While that is not truly dramatic, we're going in the right direction, right? That's really what we wanna be looking at. Are we going up with more inventory, or are we going down with more inventory? And I know a lot of people are thinking, I don't know if we can go any further down with the home inventory supply that we're looking at. So let me go ahead and read the quote from Redfin, also a big industry giant. And they are saying, we expect existing home sales to tick up next year, ending 2025 at an annualized rate of between 4.1 million and 4.4 million. That represents a year-over-year increase of between 2% and 9%. Yes, we know that is kind of a big spread, but stay with me here. We're presenting an unusually wide sales range this year because while housing costs may price out some would-be buyers, there's also a fair amount of pent-up demand in the market. Yes, there is a ton of pent-up demand in the market. And in fact, most of my clients that end up buying right now, they have probably sat on the sidelines long enough. They're running out of space, need to downsize, they can't do stairs anymore, they're relocating to Florida, they're relocating to Chicago, whatever it is, we have our threshold of how long we can hold off for. Okay, but that said, if they see that the pent-up demand starts to reach its tipping point where people are like, screw it, I'm gonna buy a house, I'm sick of waiting, then yeah, we're gonna see more homes hit the market. But it is just hard to tell what the buying and selling pool's threshold truly is. And I think that's why we have that 2% to 9% threshold. There is one more quote that I would like to put out there, and that is from Ralph McLaughlin. He's a senior economist with Realtor.com. And this really sums up the 2025 real estate market in the perfect nutshell. And that is our 2025 forecast shows that as both lower rates and time chisel away at the lock-in effect that has held back sales this year, we should expect home sales to rise modestly by 1.5% in 2025. So he is just saying we're gonna get like a little baby rise in home sales overall by 1.5%. It's going in the right direction, but it's not really an intense uptick, right? Because there is that lock-in effect. There are people who are choosing not to move because the rates that they were able to get during COVID were just too good. And now they don't want to give it up. And so they are essentially locked in. It's the world we live in. So here's my last thing for inventory. For those of you who are thinking about jumping into this market, we are going to need a little bit of patience. You're not gonna get hammered with 10 different homes all the time for you to take a look at. They're gonna trickle in. But the thing is that the homes are there. You will have to be a little patient in this market because homes are not going to be flooding to the market. They're a little bit one at a time. And so what does that mean for you as a buyer? Yes, you need to be patient. You need to be ready for a market that will be a little bit more competitive. Be prepared to be in some multiple offers. Listen, it is how it is. I would probably say that 75% of my clients are in multiple offers. And guess what? Sometimes you win them, sometimes you don't. Not the end of the world. You just keep on chugging along. But every single one of my buyers has landed in a home that they love, right? So it is just keeping and chugging along. Make sure that you have your pre-approval ready to go. You understand your numbers, and make sure that you have a realtor that you are aligned with that can compete in this type of market, right? So make sure you have everything surrounding you that will help make you win in this market. The last piece that I want to talk to in terms of the overall 2025 market predictions are home prices. If we had a dictionary word that could describe really the whole vibe of 2025 real estate, I would say it's subtle. The whole thing is subtle, right? And home pricing is kind of subtle too, because what we are seeing is predictions of roughly 2 to 3, maybe 4% tops in terms of home price appreciation. And guess what? Nothing compared to what was happening in 2021 and 2022, where homes were just 10, 15% appreciation, even more in some parts of the market. We are now at a more sustainable appreciation rate, and that's where we want to be. That is a healthy rate where we should be for any home market. But what does that also mean? That also means that if you take 1-2 years to buy a home, that means that your home will be, if you started out looking for a $500,000 home, and then it has taken you 2 years to find that home, that $500,000 home is going to be roughly $550,000, right? These home prices are rising throughout the year. And I will say that that is the one thing when it comes to appreciation. I have a few buyers that have made that mistake. They have held off too long. They've really wanted to move, but maybe their criteria wasn't in alignment with what they could actually afford. And they said, no, 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 no. By the time they have really are at the point where they want to buy something, they are now officially priced out of any type of market. So don't find yourself in that space. Home prices are going to rise at a much more even, steady, even keel pace, but they are still rising. That's real estate. It's why we invest in it. It goes up for the most part. So the slide that I'm putting up right now, again, this is another great slide that I got from Keeping Current Matters. And this slide basically shows 2025 home price forecasts. And as you can see, on the less conservative end, we're looking at 5.5% in terms of appreciation. And then Moody's is even saying that they think there might be a little bit of a depreciation, but I think they're off. I don't think they're correct. So overall, the average of these 19 predictions is roughly 3% in home price appreciation. And that seems about right for what I'm seeing as boots on the ground. When I'm following the market year in and year out, I am seeing that settling down of home appreciation, but I'm still seeing a home appreciation. So the last thing, and this is the crazy thing that I really wanted to talk about because it is a little wild. I am a data nerd, so I do find certain bits of data wild, but it does tell a story of where we're at in time. And that is the massive demographic shift that we have seen in home buying and selling. And so all of this data has been taken from what has happened in 2024, and I'm assuming that we're gonna see it on a similar trajectory for 2025. Okay, and this is this. Let me go ahead and read it. The median age of home buyers hit an all-time high, rising from 49 years old to 46 years old. So the median age of home buyers is 56 years old. I mean, that's a huge increase. That is a 6-year increase. First-time home buyers' median age also increased from 35 years to 38 years. There was a time when it was in the early 30s, right? So people who are transacting in the housing market, they're getting older because truthfully, that is who is able to buy into this market. Right? I got more. Most buyers, 73%, and sellers, 77%, do not have children under 18, reflecting an older demographic in the market. How about this? Cash transactions are 26% of the sales. 1 in 4 homes have been sold with cash. Why is this information important to me? It's important to me because I believe in the power of home ownership, and I believe that people in their early 30s and younger folks should absolutely have that chance to buy a home along with us older folks, right? It does not mean that it's unattainable, but it does mean that younger buyers need not be afraid of the housing market, but you might have to be a little bit more creative. You might have to change maybe what your criteria might be. Maybe you buy something that is a little bit more of a fixer-upper. It is important to get that first home because that first home is going to build equity, and then you trade out that first home for your next home. It helps you jump into that home that you want to be in. So for those younger folks that are struggling to get into your first home, it is attainable. If you reach out to lenders, there are a lot of first-time home buying programs. Educate yourself on that. We're not going to talk about that today, but that's a great thing to educate yourself on. Align yourself with a good realtor. They will help you find the way to make it happen, right? And so there are so many things that you can do. And in fact, if you go below, I have a link to a great lender that can help get you started and help educate you on these first-time home buyer programs. In the link below, I have tons of resources for first-time home buyers. If you need a referral for a great agent that can work with you in making that happen, go below. There's links. If you need to talk with a lender to talk to you about these first-time home buying products, go below. I have links. So there are ways to make home buying happen, but you have to be proactive. You have to align yourself with the right people. That is it. That is the 2025 home predictions from all of our big wigs that follow all of this fun stuff, sifted into a nice little package just for you. And as you can see, we are trudging along. We're going in the right direction, and we are going to see more inventory. We're going to see mortgages relax a little bit more. It will get easier and easier to buy a home. Just stick with it. I appreciate you sticking around with me and spending your time with me. If you like this content, please subscribe below. We have lots more videos on great real estate advice. Go ahead and click on those. I appreciate you. Have a great day.